Hi, I'm Rob Gray, Executive Director of the American Open Currency Standard and CEO of Mulligan Mint, Inc. Since the creation of the AOCS in early 2008, I helped bring to life millions of silver coins minted for hundreds of causes, charities, candidates, nations, and people. But after more than 5 years of spotless performance and maintaining the proof-like mirror finish of the American Open Currency Standard, one project stands out like a sore thumb: the Silver Bullet Silver Shield. Since the early days of the AOCS, I personally saw to it that every coin purchased was minted and shipped to the customer's satisfaction. From bullion to proof specialties, things didn't always go as planned, but the commitment to the customer was always held above all else. One rule was never broken: if an order was placed, the product was delivered. Since day one, I never failed to keep my promise. Over the years, to keep this promise, I constantly fought with vendors. I had no ability to control all aspects of the supply chain. So finally, at the end of 2011, I decided to step up and craft a plan to start the Mulligan Mint. I expected the new mint to be operational by July of 2013. From friendly beginnings to a falling out that has irreparably hurt nearly everyone involved, the SBSS story is one that needs to be told and shared and remembered. The SBSS story begins in July of 2012. I was invited by Congressman Ron Paul to testify before the House Financial Services Domestic Monetary Policy Subcommittee hearing regarding parallel currencies, the roadmap to monetary freedom. Of the 3 speakers on the panel, I was the one to deliver the anarcho-capitalist perspective. Quote,
"But leave our money alone. It doesn't belong to you, and it never will."
While preparing the testimony, I was introduced by Jack Spirko of the Survival Podcast to YouTube blogger Chris Duane, who was becoming well known for his Greatest Truth Never Told video series. I reached out to Chris to have him assist in drafting parts of my upcoming testimony. As a token of appreciation, I paid for Chris to join me in D.C. and introduced him to my friend Ron Paul. The next day, on August 2nd, 2012, I let Congress know exactly what I thought of central banking and the government that supports it. During our brief time together in D.C., I invited my new friend to work with me to create a new medallion, as I had done hundreds of times with others in the past. I proposed to pay for all the expenses related to graphic design, sculpting, dyes, websites, hosting, transaction processing, customer service, and the packaging and fulfillment of the orders. We agreed to split the profits 50-50. In turn, Chris agreed to promote the medallions to his large and growing audience online. Well, within a month, the Silver Bullet Silver Shield online store was built. Sales opened to the public September 4th, 2012, and within days, it was clear that the medallion was more popular than anyone expected. Within a week, the online store was upgraded, all the while sales grew through affiliates, cross-promotions, and contests. Since the Mulligan Mint was not yet ready for prime time, minting the Debt and Death coins was outsourced to Old Glory Mint in Utah. Hundreds of new customers patiently waited for the mint to deliver the first sample coin. It was weeks overdue, and we couldn't get a straight answer on the status. So, on October 12th, I took a trip to Utah to get to the bottom of the issue and confirmed my suspicion. Old Glory Mint was in trouble and unable to fill the order. I collected what silver I could find and drove back overnight to Dallas in a rented truck. Days later, a federal receiver took over the defunct mint and, after some time and a considerable amount of effort, helped us get the remaining silver. With the contracted mint out of business and other mints too busy to fashion our product at the quality and price required, it seemed like we had no choice but to put the Mulligan Mint into production ahead of schedule. This setback meant that the new mint would have to start production almost 9 months early. My partner in the endeavor knew the logistic challenge that we had. He knew that I personally invaded the original mint to get our customers silver. He was there in person when we picked up 40,000 ounces of silver shot that we could not fabricate at the new mint from a refinery in Dallas. He was there when I put my father in a truck transporting that same 40,000 ounces of silver from our facility in Dallas to Sunshine Mint in Idaho. He knew that the mint was in its infant stages and was unable to make silver blanks in-house, requiring that we rely on other vendors and lose money to meet the demands of an ever-growing customer list. However, my partner pushed onward and set an aggressive schedule to release 30 coins over the next year. On October 15th, Mulligan Mint installed the first manual coin press. Since the dies used by Old Glory were not compatible, new dies were ordered and delivered October 20th, but with the letter S missing. Finally, on October 22nd, fully 49 days after the Silver Bullet Silver Shield Debt and Death coin started selling online, the first coin was minted by Chris in person. By the time Mulligan Mint had a chance to mint the first coin, customers were already waiting as much as 7 weeks. The next day, Chris and I boarded a plane for the Silver Summit in Spokane. Meanwhile, in Dallas, for months, press operators at the Mulligan Mint worked around the clock, minting by hand more than 100,000 silver blanks. Although it took months to receive high-quality blanks, the quality of the coins minted over time improved, and the lead time shrunk as interest and demand grew exponentially, even with all the setbacks. Regardless of vendor defaults, merchant processing freezes, equipment failures, and an untrained team of technicians, silver coins were minted and shipped by the thousands. We pushed forward with the Trivium, Slave Queen, Freedom Girl, and a few specialty proofs. Hundreds of people shared in this success. I paid out more than $45,000 in affiliate commission. Countless eBay sellers made a profit, offering rare and unusual versions of our coins, and I personally paid my partner a small fortune in profit for his excellent promoting skills. Over the next few months, Silver Bullet Silver Shield was able to hold the line at an average lead time for both retail and wholesale customers at 8 to 10 weeks. We added staff, equipment, technology, and worked countless hours to keep up with the growth and demand for SBSS products. As the Mulligan Mint grew in expertise and capacity, in-house blanking finally came online, and the production process was managed without vendor interference. By early April, it appeared that the Mint had finally found its feet on stable ground and was able to meet the demands of the Silver Bullet Silver Shield retail and wholesale customers with a quality product and short lead times. But, as with most stories too good to be true, greed set in. On Thursday, April 11th, 2013, the same day a deal was struck with the country's largest silver refinery to ensure fast access to virtually unlimited amounts of 4.9 fine silver, Chris decided by email that it was time to part ways without discussion. All he wanted for a clean break was everything: sculpts, dyes, domain names, websites, customer lists, affiliates, all the assets that I bought, paid for, and managed through nearly 8 months of sleepless nights and an adventure with the highest highs and the lowest lows. That day, I called my friend and attempted to find out what brought about such a hasty and drastic decision. After a short while, Chris agreed to sleep on it. By Sunday, April 14th, Chris agreed that parting ways would not be productive and told me to hold on to the dies and get the customer orders filled. He asked for a statement and said that he would keep his mouth shut until we get this fixed. It was the last time I would hear directly from Chris. On Tuesday, April 16th, I sent Chris an email update with a full status. I received no reply. Then, on Wednesday, April 17th, suddenly and without notice, secretly flying down from Ohio and showing up in my offices unannounced, my friend stormed into a private meeting and set the ultimatum: hand over the assets or I'll destroy you. My response was simple: take your best shot. Well, this experience and what has followed is a sad lesson for me in the true cost of ignoring reality. On Thursday, April 18th, I woke up to a new and exciting blog post on Chris's site. I found myself a new enemy. Incidentally, it was published the very same day as my appointment to meet the executive team of APMEX, the country's largest bullion company, to discuss them carrying the Silver Bullet Silver Shield line of coins. The meeting went well and the first order for Freedom Girls was placed. It seemed that we would be okay after all. Undaunted, my team moved forward, delivering on our promise to our customers to market and deliver an original and exciting product at a fair price. For weeks, we diligently worked to fill each and every order. Meanwhile, I became shocked and surprised at the number of customers, affiliates, authorized dealers, and teammates that turned their back on the project. The new Mint, me, a person that has never let down a customer in my 5-year history. It felt for a moment as if I had not existed before SBSS. Most people didn't know the details and didn't really care, but far too many dealers and partners decided to do nothing and wait on the sideline. Sales declined 97%, and I was caught flat-footed with a huge Mint, big production capacity, shocking overhead expenses, and almost no customers, since nearly all of my Mint's production was reserved to service the needs of the Silver Bullet Silver Shield. Customers, vendors, dealers, and anyone that had the time to gawk at my ex-friend's online rant asked for my side of the story. Some drew conclusions against me before investigation, while others reserved judgment. I told my team, our customers, and the public that we would win through action, not through argument. We stayed quiet, we did our jobs, we followed through on our commitments, and sure enough, some customers, dealers, affiliates, and friends came out of the woodwork and continued on the path. Just like nothing had ever happened outside of the mind of one scared, small-minded little man who grossly underestimated the power of doing the right thing and grossly overestimated the shallow respect granted to him by his audience who, for a short time, admired his, quote, avoid toxic relationships and walk away teachings after his exit from our relationship turned into an obvious and overtly public vendetta to destroy something beautiful. Well, needless to say, his mission has failed. We don't know what the future holds for our former friend. We wish him the best of luck and hope that he permanently suspends his war on reality and goes back to building a productive life that doesn't come at the expense of someone else. Since the breakup, life has certainly become interesting. If I could do it all over again, I would skip the adventure. It has cost my team more than I care to consider and way more than I'm willing to admit. But it has also taught me a valuable lesson on life, business, trust, risk, and entrepreneurship. But honestly, I have no one to blame for this mess but myself. You see, the secret I've kept this whole time is actually quite embarrassing for me to admit. My former partner is afraid that one day the world will find out what he really is, and that he's actually the person that he warned you about. The secret is that I knew it almost from day one, but ignored it because doing so was profitable for me. Chris claims that he wrote the speech I delivered to Congress. He did not. I wrote most of it with suggestions from my dear friend Eddie. I let Chris tell the story his way. Chris refused to speak on a panel at the Silver Summit in Spokane because he was not selected Silver Bug of the Year, as he believed he rightfully deserves, as he claims he's done more for the silver community than anyone else. I've convinced him to go anyway. Chris claims to have an abundance mentality, desiring to share the wealth. He threatened to quit when I refused to sell intentional misstrikes on an undisclosed eBay store. Chris claimed to have not earned a single dime in profit from our sales, in hopes that his audience would not find out that while they were waiting on orders, he was sitting on profit. Chris has been paid more than $184,000 in cash and silver. I let him tell the story his way. Early in our relationship, I knew the real Chris Dwayne. I should have exited the relationship. I got caught up in the excitement of the growth and the profit from the sales. It felt good, and I ignored the obvious warning sign of Chris's true character. I ignored reality, and it has now paid me back with interest. All things considered, it's a lesson that I needed to learn. I'm better off for it, and I look forward to the many and wonderful places that will go from here. Ignoring reality creates an injustice, and injustices must always be repaid. The only question is who pays, the guilty or the innocent? You can never be wrong when you do the right thing. You may be scolded, punished, fired, reprimanded, but never by men of character. They will always respect the authority of excellence and demand that you return the same. Today, the Silver Bullet Silver Shield store is closed, and yet my friend Chris continues his assault on the Mulligan Mint. Wave 1 of the assault attempted to discredit me and convince you that I was taking your money and funneling it off to Singapore. Well, I've been to Singapore twice. It's beautiful, and I suggest you get there someday too. But all orders are complete and shipped with the best quality product on the market. In Wave 2, Chris commanded his legions to contact my vendors, wholesale clients, and tamper with long-standing relationships. And sadly, I must admit that this wave was all too successful. Ironically, in Wave 3, Chris employs the help of the government, reporting to the IRS that I'm not running a regular payroll, and he's now filed suit in Dallas court. I've since incorporated Mulligan Mint Inc. and now run a regular weekly payroll, serving as a tax collector for the federal government. I'll keep you updated on the status of things over at ChrisDwayneExposed.com. Today, the original Silver Bullet Silver Shield is gone, though hundreds of thousands of beautiful medallions live on to remember its name. This story, from me, serves as a timeless reminder of the true cost of evading reality. And moving forward, I hope this experience will remind all of us to never compromise principles for profit. I'm Rob Gray, Executive Director of the American Open Currency Standard and CEO of Mulligan Mint, Inc.